What's up, Sheepdog Nation? Welcome to another episode of Sheepdog Nation with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. I'm really excited to have you here. I feel like it's been forever since I've talked with you. I know it's only been a week, but I, for some reason, feel like it's been forever. It's been a very long week for me. I know it's been a very long, 3 weeks in the law enforcement community, in the Sheepdog Nation. We've lost a lot of officers recently. A lot of officers just getting killed and shot for no reason. And so it's been really hard. This episode, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about going to a cop's funeral. We're going to be talking about some issues that I see in Sheepdog Nation that need to be addressed and that we have got to change. We've got to come together, and it's going to start right here, right now. And we're going to start together. But before I get into this week's episode, I have a couple of things that I want to chat with you about. First off, I want to introduce myself to my new listeners. I want to welcome you. I am a medically retired police officer at a very young age, the young age of 20. Well, I'm going to be 28 this weekend, so that's exciting. But at 27, I had to medically retire. I had a back injury. And my doctor basically said, yeah, you need to be done, because if you're not, and you get hurt again on the job, or the injury comes back, then we don't know what we're going to be facing. And we don't know if you're going to actually be able to move, or it was a back injury and it was really bad. So anyways, I had to get out of the job, and, it might have looked easy. It definitely is not easy to get out of the job. To stay out of the job is definitely not that easy. And so the way that I see it is I had two options. I could run as far away from law enforcement as I could. And I'm going to be honest with you, I did that for about a good year and a half. But then when I came to my senses, I realized, you know what, I got into law enforcement to make a difference. And just because I'm not in law enforcement doesn't mean I can't make a difference inside of it. And I feel like that now that I'm not in law enforcement, I can make more of a difference for you, because I can say and do all the things that you can't because you're working. And I absolutely plan to. So that's the whole point of me. And that's, if that entices you at all, makes you happy at all, then I'm happy to have you here listening to me. This is going to be a really good time for, if you have children around, or if I am on a loudspeaker, for you to put headphones on or turn it off until the children are not around, because I do swear I do get wound up. You are listening to a cop, right? So it's, how we talk. The next thing I want to talk to you about, I'm going to start doing this. This is really fun. I'm going to start giving shout outs to you all. We have amazing listeners here. I think what's happening is something that is far beyond my expectations. When I started doing this a month and a half ago. We are over 3,000 downloads. I don't really promote it. It's been taking off. It's amazing. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving shout outs for those of you who review and rate this. Do it on iTunes, please. Those of you who share my podcast in your social media, and I see people that are listening to it. If I'm going to be giving shout outs for people that message me and say that you referred them, I'm going to be giving you shout outs. So it's going to be really cool. But today I'm going to be giving a shout out to, he is a Maine State Trooper, Trooper Doobie. He came up to me. He made my day. He came up to me. I was at a funeral. We were both attending Corporal Eugene Cole's, funeral. He was a deputy in my hometown of Somerset County, and he was killed about a week and a half ago on April 25th anyways. We were attending it. This trooper came up to me and he shook my hand. He introduced himself to me, and he told me that he listens to my podcast and he loves my podcast. And I don't think he even knew how much that meant to me. So huge shout out to Trooper Doobie, and a big shout out to every single one of you listening to me. If you want to get, shouted out, then please share my stuff, let's really spread this along Sheepdog Nation. Write a review, share it out, recommend it to somebody. Let them know that you tell me, you need them to message me and tell me that you recommended them, and I'm going to give you a shout out. Another shout out that I'd like to extend is to Blue Line Flex. You can find them on Instagram. No, this is not a paid promotion. This officer, he runs a page on Instagram. It's a very successful page, and he found my podcast and he's been listening to it on his midnight shifts, and he wanted me to know that his midnight shifts go a lot quicker when he has good stuff to listen to. So he listens to my podcast, and he actually featured my podcast and surprised me on his Instagram story. So that meant a lot to me. So thank you, Blue Line Flex. Okay, so let's keep going. I want to keep going, and I want to dive right into today's topic. Okay, so today's topic is all about the funeral and what I discovered, because the funeral for me was a very emotional thing. And if you've ever attended a cop's funeral, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was more emotional for me because I was not in uniform. And so that was really fucking hard. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I went, I was very, honored to be able to go. Adam, as you know, you may or may not know, my fiance, he's a Maine State Trooper. He's part of the K9 unit, and they did a K9 procession because Cpl Cole's son is an active duty K9 handler, and you should train with them. And so we did a procession. And so what that meant is we lined up the highway with the dogs and the cruisers. And when Cpl Cole's body came through, all the troopers stood and saluted on the side of the road. It was very touching. It was very touching. And I really learned a lot. There was so much that, because I wasn't in uniform, and I'm going to just be honest with you guys, like, it's not easy. Like, I have to just say this, like, it is not fucking easy not to be in uniform. Like, if you know me, if you spend any time with me, if you listen to me, like, I am still very passionate about this job, but I'm very passionate about the lifestyle that the sheepdogs who are in it are living. That's what I'm passionate about. Like, doing the job was cool, but being a part of something that was bigger than myself, such as Sheepdog Nation, and that's why I created that. That's why I created this, is, and that is what's cool. Being a part of the thin blue line is what, obviously, that's what drove me. But so being on, kind of being on the outside of that today, not today, it was yesterday, at this funeral, I really saw things in perspective, and I've had a lot of time to reflect, and that's what we're going to talk about. So if you have never been to a police officer's funeral, I highly suggest you go, especially if you're new to your career, because you've got to see this. It puts everything into perspective for you, and it shows you exactly like what the sacrifices that you are making, like what the ultimate sacrifice is, and like what can happen. It also shows you brother and sisterhood like you've never seen before. And that's really what I want to chat with you about. I'm going to try to remain calm. But if you know me, then you know I get very feisty. It is, still is. And this was this was a small funeral compared to, what a lot of you guys have been to, in Massachusetts, and I'm sure down in Texas, they're huge. Maine, we went up to, northern Maine, so it wasn't as big, but, we had officers from Chicago, from Texas, from NYPD. The rumor has it there was some from Alaska. And, so that's amazing. But what I'm trying to say is the brother and sisterhood, the sea of blue, with every officer having the exact same feelings of just, anger, pure anger. The whole time I'm at this funeral, all I'm thinking is, this is all that kept replaying in my head. Now, I did not know the deputy personally. I didn't. Okay, so if you're asking, that's probably a question in your head. No, I didn't know the deputy personally, but I didn't need to, because all that I was thinking in my head was, my brother got killed for no reason. He got shot for no reason, just doing his job. And that's all I kept thinking, is that that's my brother. That's my brother who is dead, and there's no fucking reason for it. And that could be any one of my brothers and sisters in this room. That could have been me when I was 10-8, and that means in service. And it was just very like hard, right? So emotional. And then it led me to think about something else. It says we're doing this processional and we're with, I don't even know how many, a lot of canine officers, like from all across the state. Some came from out of state. I talked to 2 guys from New Hampshire or Massachusetts, I think. I can't remember, but they're from, they were awesome. They were from out of state. They came to support us. They brought their dogs. They're canine handlers, super awesome guys. And I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, the brotherhood and the sisterhood, we are so tight. We are just so tight, right? And like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like, everybody's here. Like, we had lots of conversations around Corporal, Cole. And like, we talked about that and we talked about the brotherhood, like all of us, like just standing around and like waiting to go and do this processional. We talked about a lot of things. And, I got to see a couple of the guys that Adam and I went to the same police academy together. And in Maine, it's like boot camp. You live there. And so there was 2 guys who were really close with the 2 other troopers that we all went to the academy together. And it's just always so fucking good to see your academy, like classmates. And if you've never been to the academy, then you don't understand it. But like, there's just this bond, right, with academy mates. Like for me, and maybe it's not like this for you, but for me, because I take this blue blood, like I literally take this blue family so serious. And you're going to get to, as you listen to me more, you're going to get to know that about me. But I really want to press upon this to you. So I want you to keep listening. And I want, if right now, like you're around some officers, like it's midnight shift, you need to tell them about this, because every officer needs to hear this. Okay. What I'm about to say. So we're standing around, and it's some troopers who, we went to the academy with. And like I was saying, it's like, there's just no bond like that. Like an academy member, I went to the academy with 60 cadets from all around the state of Maine. And if any one of them called me today, it wouldn't matter. It would not matter. It's like, what do you need? I'll be there. Like, don't worry about it. I got it. And like that bond, Sheepdogs, that's nothing. That is like nothing I've ever felt. And I know it's the same for you. And here's the thing. It's the same with everybody who wears our uniform. It doesn't matter what agency. And I know, listen, we give each other shit, state police is this, and, the sheriff's office, they're, maybe they're better, or the state police are better, or, both of them are better than the city cops. And then the city cops are like, those fucking assholes. They're clowns. They don't even know what the hell they're doing. They can't tell their head from their ass. Like, we do real police work in the city, but we joke around, and we tease each other and stuff. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, we all wear the same badge, okay? And now I'm not saying that there aren't officers that are like, there are officers who are better than other officers, okay? Just like there are doctors and lawyers who are better than other doctors and lawyers, okay? Like, we know this. But here's the deal. We all do the same job, okay? We wear the same badge. We all experience, whether we want to admit it or not, the same exact shit. We go through the same stress. We all develop the same mindset. We all fucking have to deal with the fucking public the same way. We have admins up our asses. We have to come home and deal with our families. We've got to try to fucking be normal. We've got to try to fucking be somewhat of a civilian when we're off duty. Like, we all have the same shit that we have to deal with. And yet, for some fucking reason, we are the first ones to stab each other in the back. We are the first ones to throw each other under the bus. We're the first ones to judge. I mean, let's be honest. Somebody comes into briefing and they look any fucking different than they did the day before, everyone's going to give them shit for the first 20 minutes of briefing. Like, let's be honest. And it doesn't stop there, right? Like, I know that. I live that life. You know it too. And I know it's all good fun, but here's the thing. We're also very quick to judge, and it's not in good fun. And we're all very quick to talk shit behind each other's back. I've worked in 3 different agencies. My fiance's worked in 2. It's all the exact same thing. I have friends who work in multiple different agencies. I know you listening right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And there is no need of it. And it has got to stop. It's got to stop. Here's the thing. I was telling Adam about it on the way home because I get so fired up. Like, I should have done the podcast on my way home, but like it wouldn't have sounded that good. I get so fired up over it because it's like this. Like, we are literally at war. And you've heard me say this, and you know this. We are at war in our own country thanks to the fucking old president administration. We are having officers getting killed left and right. We have officers getting killed eating fucking waffles. We have officers getting killed going to like an animal disturbance. You know, the deputy in my state got killed because he did something that every single one of you do. He saw a guy who had a warrant and he went and knocked on the door of the house. He saw the guy inside the house who went and fucking knocked on the door of the house. Guy opened the door and fucking shot him right in the head. Okay, so all I'm saying is that we're dying. We're dying. We're killing ourselves. The suicide rate is fucking unbelievable. And of course, no one's talking about that. And we're not doing anything about it. Like, our leaders are not doing anything about it. And I just want to bring that to your attention because I want you to pay attention, and I'm not trying to get you to be all soft. Like, listen, obviously you're on my podcast, right? I am a female. I'm definitely far more emotional than if you go onto like Jocko's podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very emotional. But I am emotional because I'm so passionate about this. And I'm passionate about you because I want you to survive. And I don't only want you to survive your career. I want you to thrive. I don't want you to get that divorce. I don't want you to get out of shape. I want you to get that promotion. I want you to be happy. And not only that, I want your brothers and sisters who work alongside you to love and respect you, because sheepdogs, at the end of the day, that's all we have is each other. That's it. That is fucking it. Okay. They get you. The people you work with, whether you like them or not, they get you. They know why you're a fucking asshole. They go to the calls with you. They know how you operate. They know you inside and out. That side, they know that side of you. And that's a very important side, because that side is the side of you that comes out, minimum 40 hours a week. I'm sure more like 50, 60, 70 hours a week if, you're working overtime like every other cop I know. They know you. I knew my partners so good when we would work the job. I knew my partner so well. He and we would I'd pick up his conversation. Like, I would pick up where he would leave off and he'd do the same for me. I knew when he was way over the top and he needed to go outside, and I'd handle the call, and he did this. He knew me. We knew the words. I knew his body language. I knew by his facial expressions, and you know that with the guys and the girls that you work with, like, it, whether you fully like understand that you know it or you don't, that. That is huge. Okay, family, that is huge. That is like spouse status, right? Like, our spouses know that shit about us. But you have got to get this in your fucking heads that law enforcement is legitimately a family. And it hasn't been, straight up. Like, I know, because I've been there. I can't tell you how many guys have fucked me over, and girls, and they, and they've made me feel awful about myself. Like, how many times, like, I've come off shift and just came home and bawled my eyes out and didn't want to go back to shift the next day. Like, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to get into a fight with somebody that you work with. You're all type A. Like, most of us are type A as cops, and like, that shit's going to happen. But at the end of the day, here's what we need to remember. We understand each other better than any fucking civilian understands us. Okay? And while we're all on goddamn ego trips, I'm going to tell you what it's about. Every officer's on an ego trip because they just want to survive. But if we could come together, and this starts from the top down, but I know, I don't know, but I can't imagine too many administrators are listening to this podcast right now. Change my mind if you are. Let me know. But I really don't think that there are. And so it's going to have to start from the bottom, and we're going to have to go up. Like, if you're a patrolman, you're listening to me on your midnight shift, like, okay, like, let's start it from the bottom and let's go to the top. Start right now with you. So what does that look like? Look, even if your buddy or even if the people you work with or somebody you work with is a soup fucking sandwich, instead of, rolling your eyes, giving them a bunch of shit, telling them they're a soup sandwich, fucking leaving them to hang, to handle these dumbass calls by themselves, but you would help your fucking partner out, go help them. Make a fucking point and teach them and be the role model, be the leader you are. You're a police officer, you're a leader in society. Be that fucking leader. Okay, because that's your brother or your sister in law enforcement. And here's the reality. If they die, you're going to their fucking funeral. So don't spend your career, don't spend your life talking mad shit about everyone. Listen, that's easy to do. That's so easy to do. It's so easy to go pull up car to car and start fucking talking shit. I did it. I fucking did it. And I got caught up in it. You know what? I did. Hands down. And it's easy. That was easy. Okay. What I'm telling you to do is not easy. And it's going to be hard for a while until this catches on. But I'm telling you, you have got to start. Take your shift out to breakfast. Cook breakfast if you want to have it, in the agency. Plan, shift things. Have your families get together, all of you, not just 3 or 4 of you, because that's probably what you do now. Incorporate and involve everybody. If you see somebody who, he or she just fucking, they hate stopping cars, instead of just rolling your eyes at them, figure out what they like and do that with them. Maybe they're like all about fucking arresting warrants or doing more like fucking, who knows? I don't know what they're all about, right? But go figure it out and do it with them. Maybe your thing is interdiction work and their thing is OUIs, or maybe they love investigating shit. Like, this is what we need to do, family. Like, this is what we need to do. We need to not, shove each other, we don't need to fucking fuck each other up the ass. We do not need everyone going up to admin. We don't. We need to spend time together as a family, and we need to come together as a family. I'm not telling you to lie, and I'm not telling you to do anything that is illegal. Please don't misunderstand. But sometimes some of you are running your fucking mouths about, a call that nobody needs to run their fucking mouth about. I mean, police work got done and it just got handled. Just shut the fuck up. Okay. And it wouldn't be a problem if we came together and we started operating like an actual thin blue line family instead of a family that only comes together during tragedy. Because if you ask me, that we're functioning like a fucking, dysfunctional family. And we all know what a dysfunctional family looks like. They come together on the holidays and, by 5 o'clock on that holiday, everyone's drunk, pissed off, fucking fighting with each other. Right. Or half of the family doesn't even show up and nobody speaks, for like nobody sees each other throughout the year. Right. And nobody speaks to one another except on holidays. Like, that's how we are acting as Sheepdog Nation. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm not guilty of it. I totally am. Like, there's officers I've worked with that I want to knock the fuck out, like, straight up. But at the end of the day, like, I have to take a step back and look and say, you know what? But they're officers. They're cops. They went through what I went through to become a cop. And they're a cop, and I have to hand it to them. Now, civilians, okay, that's something different, right? But that guy or that girl, she's a cop. And yeah, it might not be my favorite cop. And you know what? Maybe I feel like the agency hired him or her because they didn't have a choice. But instead of me outcasting them, at the end of the day, they wear my badge. They wear my uniform. They're my fucking family. Don't mean that they don't need to earn it. I'm not telling you that rookies don't need to earn it. I fucking fully believe so. I had to earn it. I had a whole fucking year of earning it. More than that. But I had a hard ass year of earning it. And it made me better because of it. And I'm not saying rookies don't need to earn it. But I'm just saying we need to come together as a family. And I know you hear me talk about this a lot, and you're gonna. And you are going to hear me talk about this a lot because this is my mission. Like, I can't tell you enough, because I just don't know why or when we, as the Thin Blue Line family, stop being a family? I don't know. I know that, police work 20 years ago, they were a family. I know that because I talked to a lot of old veterans and they just fucking did shit. They just did it. That was it. And, they helped each other out, and didn't mean they liked each other. I talked to a lot of veterans. He's a fucking idiot, but he was still, he's a cop. And that's how I feel too. You know how in the beginning of this episode, I chatted about my academy brothers and sisters, like who I went to the academy with. I feel like that about cops too. Anywhere I go, everywhere I go. If I run into a cop, if I'm dealing with a cop, online and they do business, I'll buy from them. I'm 10 times more likely to buy from them than anyone else. And I'm not going to say I haven't gotten, the raw end of the deal multiple times in business. Yeah, I have very recently. Won't lie about it. Sucks. But they're still cops, and until they fuck me over, like, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to treat them like they're my family. And even though I've never even met them before, because they're my family. And so I want you to start doing the same thing. I want you to start being a leader. I want you to come with me and let's come together as Sheepdog Nation, because we don't need any more funerals, family. We don't. And I know it's inevitable, and I know we're going to be attending more, but let's attend less. And let's really enjoy the time that we have together, and let's really come together and be a functional family instead of dysfunctional. All right? That's really all I have. That's what I have for you today. Thanks for listening. It's a lot of feels. I got a lot of feels today for all that. I know Police Week's coming up. This week coming is Police Week. And unfortunately, I'm not in uniform. I don't really know the rules. If anybody knows the rules, hook a sister up and let me know what the rules are. So for next year, I'd really like to go, but I don't know if you have to be a cop to go, or if I can go with Adam, or if I can, whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure. But next year, my goal is the Lady Sheepdogs. That movement will be there. If you're not a lady sheepdog, you need to be. If you're a female listening to this, if you are a male officer and a woman who wants to become a police officer, you need to get her in. You're going to see the link below this podcast. It's the Lady Sheepdog movement. We're changing lives. It's growing. I'm, just building it. But I'm telling you, if you want to be a female in law enforcement, this is where you need to be. It's everything I wish I fucking had. If you're not with me on Instagram, I don't know why you're not, but you need to be. Link is below. And if you've been listening to me for a while and there's something you want to hear me talk about, please come and DM me on Instagram and let me know. And if you make it all the way to the end, you are one of my badass sheepdogs, and I want to know about it. So come to my Instagram post and let me know you made it all the way to the end. All right. I'll see you next time.